So I'm going to share my, I'll start the presentation and then back to here and then share my screen to PowerPoint. Share. Okay, so you can all see this PowerPoint, hopefully. Now, if I do that, what happens? Oh. Click. Oh yeah, where's number one gone? I haven't done this before. Vajrashura is the whiz on the presentations, so I don't know where number one is. But anyways, this is the overview of the class. We're going to have the overview fairly rough and ready, but and then we're going to have we're going to meditate after this wonderful section, and then we are going to review last week. So I'm going to do a quick recap of the course last week, looking at the wheel in general, and then some of the three of the different realms. And then we're going to go into our break. Oh no, sorry, the breakout groups then the breakout groups, and then we'll have a break, and we'll come back and I'll have the main input of the evening. And I see. Oh. And then we'll go back into breakout groups and discuss our home practice and anything that might come up around the material of this week. And that'll be it. That'll be this evening. And of course, there'll be reflections and all that kind of stuff. So, and hopefully not too much more PowerPoint. Oh yeah, I'm gone too far now. So stop the sharing. Stop sharing. Okay. So, so while I get my notes up, you might admire the new gadget that I got this week, the lovely new camera. So hopefully I'm coming through in high definition this week and that I sound a bit better as well. So Vajrashura bought this lovely new camera. So hopefully that will increase the quality of the presentation this evening. Apparently with Zoom, if the image quality is poor, the brain requires a lot more energy to start processing the imagery, putting together all the bits. So if you're looking at a grainy image or a low resolution image for 2 hours, you're going to be more tired than if you look at a high definition image for 2 hours. So hopefully that will improve your experience of the course this evening and subsequent nights. So last week we introduced you to the wheel of life, the symbol of the reactive mind, which dates way back to early Buddhism with the Sarvastivadins. If you're into that kind of thing, it originates from that time. Now I did remember saying in my group, highlighted the fact that it wasn't as well developed as the one that we are looking at that point. It wasn't as developed as that, but it did originate from early Buddhism, and then it evolved over time. And what we now have is what we are presenting you with, which is more closely aligned with the Tibetan tradition, the version that we're presenting this evening. So we looked at the hub, first of all, and the hub of the wheel. So this is the driving axle, the central spoke that is driving the whole process of the wheel of life. And it was represented by the three animals. So you have the snake, the pig, and the hen, and they're representing greed, hatred, and delusion. And one is biting the tail of the other, and they're chasing each other. So it's the collaboration of, or the I wouldn't say collaboration, that sounds too willful. It's the blind sort of chasing of greed, hatred, and delusion that gives energy to this whole process of existence as we know it. We looked at the next kind of concentric circle of the wheel, which was the beings that were ascending and then ultimately descending again. The constant cycle of progression and progress, if through skillful actions or good deeds, creativity, and then ultimately all kind of a descending again back down, uh, kind of representing the unskillful, the reactive mind. But it's the cyclical nature of it that is trying to be communicated, that it just keeps going round and round and round, and we're kind of trapped in this cycle. The next concentric circle, which takes up most of the wheel, is the 6 realms, which we went into more detail a bit later, but I'll just say the all of them, which was the devas, the gods, the asuras, the titans, the animal realm, the pretas or hungry ghosts, and the hell realm, the tormented beings, and the human realm. So those are the six realms, but we looked a bit. I'll talk about the other ones that we looked at in more detail in a moment. With then the next concentric circle, which is the 12 Nidana links, or the Nidana chain. These are the links of conditioned co-production, and we're going to hear a lot more about those next week from Vajrashura. And I'm really glad that I don't have to take on that job, because it can be quite tricky going through all the Nidana links and communicating them, but no better man than Vajrashura to do that. So you're in for a treat. So that's the wheel itself, but don't forget that it is being held in the claws of Yama, the god of death. So he's just taking delight and reveling in the fact that we are in this wheel, never-ending cycle of life and death. So that's the wheel generally. And then we looked in more detail at the preta realm, which is characterized by being in a state of neurotic craving. So it's the hungry ghosts. They cannot be satisfied. So they're eating their food, they have their big bellies, their small mouths, big eyes. They're trying to drink water, but it's acid. Not quite in the image we looked at last week, but in the image we're going to look at this week, you can see that there's whatever they've eaten is causing swords to come out of their bellies. So quite visceral kind of imagery there. So that was the pretas, the hungry ghosts. And we heard about the hell realm, the tormented beings, characterized by suffering, endless suffering. We talked about how you might be surprised to find some hell realms in the Buddhist tradition, but it is quite different to hell realms in other traditions, like Christianity, where it isn't eternal. It's not an eternal state. There are ways out of it. It does change. It's not a permanent, eternal state of existence. So that was the hell realm. We looked at also the animal realm. So the realm of instinctual habits, the realm of not actually having any higher meaning. It's just about going through life based on your desires. What do you want next? What's the next thing? Oh, I feel like doing this, I feel like doing that. You're kind of sleepwalking through life, just being driven by your evolutionary needs and nothing more than that. So that's the animal realm. But we also heard that in each of these, there is a Buddha. A Buddha appears. So in the hungry ghost realm, we have who do we have? The red Buddha? Let me look at my notes. The red Buddha appears in the realm of the hungry ghosts, and he has food that will actually satisfy. Food and drink that will really satisfy on a deep level. So it's the food and drink of the Dharma that will really satisfy. The Buddha appears in the hell realm in a blue-gray color, and he has amrita, a bowl of this soothing nectar, the elixir of life that will cure all ailments, will bring bliss and happiness And so he appears in the hell realms with that. In the animal realm, he appears with a book in order to educate and communicate a higher aesthetic meaning, communicate that there is something more than just being driven by your instincts. So that's symbolized by the book. So, and then we had some homework last week. Let's see now. I realize I got this wrong. I should have done the meditation first. Anyway, you'll have to, actually I won't show you the homework because I'll just show you that just before we go into the groups, because the recap was meant to happen after the meditation. I think I could do it a meditation myself this evening to get my head into gear. So we're going to do that now, and then I'm going to show you the homework from last week. And then we're going to groups. Oh, thanks, Liz. It's about owning it, you know. Okay, so get into a comfortable meditation posture. It's not going to be too long. We're going to do this for about 15 minutes. And so get into your usual posture. For some of you, you may not haven't been meditating very long. You may not have done a meditation course. You might just be sitting in a chair, and that's totally fine. But just making sure you're upright, you're relaxed, but also alert. Your shoulders are relaxed. You may like to have some support for your arms and your hands by having a cushion or a blanket around you that you can rest your hands on, something like that. Okay. And when you're ready, just closing your eyes. And before you even let your mind wander off, just notice your surroundings. Notice the sounds. Sounds from outside. Sounds from inside. Noticing the space you're occupying, the room you're in. Your body has a specific location in the space you're in. Noticing the space that it's occupying. Now just noticing the contact between your body and your supports. So if you're sitting in a chair, you'll notice your feet on the ground, contact with the back of your legs, the buttocks, the lower back, upper back, maybe armrests, whatever is supporting you. Just noticing the contact between your body and the supports. See, can you let go into those a little more? Relaxing into that support while maintaining your upright, alert posture. And to help with that, you can just once or twice have a longer conscious exhale. just once or twice, and then just letting the breath be normal. So we're going to slightly change the body scan this week. We're just going to notice sensations of pleasure to start off with. So just notice where in the body you're experiencing pleasant sensation. You can start with the feet, lower legs, upper legs, any sensations of pleasure. The whole pelvic region, the lower back, the middle of the back, upper back, shoulders. Where is there sensations of pleasure, release? The upper arms, lower arms, hands, relaxation, release, pleasant sensations. The heart area, chest, side ribs, the belly. Noticing pleasant sensation. The back of the neck, the scalp, the face. Doing the same again, noticing any sensations of discomfort, tightness. Very kindly just noticing those sensations without adding anything to them. Don't try to push them away. Feet and legs, pelvic area, the back, the arms, heart, chest, stomach. The neck, scalp, the face. Any sensations of discomfort, tightness, constriction. Just noticing, not pushing away. Was there anywhere in the body where you had neither pleasant nor unpleasant sensation? With curiosity, bringing your attention to that area, just being receptive to what might arise. There's no problem if nothing does arise. Just being curious and receptive to the areas that are neither pleasant nor unpleasant, that are neutral. Notice now our emotional state. You can ask yourself, what is my emotional weather right now? How am I feeling emotionally? It doesn't have to be a nice, neat little answer. You may not be able to put words to our emotions, and that's okay. But just feeling whatever state you're in right now. So there's no good or bad emotions when we're doing this. It's just awareness, no judgment. Now just notice our thoughts. What thoughts are going through our mind? And notice if we can sort of step away from our thoughts. Try not be in the driver's seat of our thoughts, but rather be at the side of the road watching the thoughts go by. So if you are in the driver's seat, so to speak, stopping and stepping out, walking to the side of the road, and watch the thoughts go by from there instead. So from the place of awareness of our thoughts, awareness of our emotional state, awareness of the pleasant, unpleasant and neutral experience in our body, and our awareness of our physical body, just noticing the sensations in the heart area. Bringing to mind maybe someone we care about very much, or something that makes us feel love towards ourselves, well-wishing towards ourselves, whatever that might be. And noticing the sensation in the heart area when we bring this person to mind. We bring this idea to mind that helps us to feel loving kindness towards ourselves. If nothing is coming to mind, you can reflect on the fact that you've come here this evening. You want to improve, you want to be well, you want to be happy. That's a good desire. So bringing your awareness to that. And now imaginatively, imagine that sensation that arises in the heart area, expanding outward. Moving in all directions without any boundaries, unbounded. Without any limitations. Well-wishing, loving kindness, what we call metta, spreading in all directions. And just for the last few moments, letting go of any effort, just noticing the effects of the practice. Then when you're ready, beginning to move your toes, your fingers, bringing some movement back into the body. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. Okay, good. So I was introducing a few things experientially there that will be relevant to the material next week, but you don't have to worry about it now. But there will be some, hopefully it will be helpful for next week. So I've already done the recap, as you well know. So what I'm going to do now is remind you of what the home practice was last week. Here we go. Yes, so this is what I asked you to do last week. Again, let me reiterate, you don't need to worry if you don't have your homework done. It's not that kind of course. Just share how your week went generally, or any thoughts or anything that has arisen from related to the course. Just bring that to your group, whatever you like. But this was what we asked you to do. So read to page 25 of the book. To meditate every day, if possible. If you've done the meditation course, with us. noticing the reactive and creative mind at work in your life, and to notice what worlds or states of the wheel we occupy. Now, we only did 3 of those realms in depth last week, so uh, you may not have noticed you're in those 3 particularly, but maybe you did. But what did you notice about these states or worlds or realms, and what does the Buddha represent for you in your own life? What gift that he brings to each of the realms? What is that for you in your current situation? So you might be happy to hear that if you did do your homework this week, it's the same homework this week, as in the same homework from tonight. So you've already done the homework, particularly the book reading part. But you do have 3 extra rounds this week. So you might find you're occupying some of those rounds. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's time to go into the breakout groups. Is that all okay, Oscar? Is everything ready to go? Good. So you'll be in the groups for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and I can answer any questions that you might have. We'll have a little short plenary, which is a word I didn't know what that was until I started doing courses. A plenary is like open forum kind of thing. So it's one of my favorite words now. And yeah, we'll have a little plenary for you guys when you get back, and then a break. And then we'll have the main input. Okay, so off you go with the groups. And Oscar, I forgot to announce about the group with no leader. So what I'll do is I'll pop into that group and just mention it and then go back into my own. So
I was going to say, Prasannadeva, there's only one person in that group who's here today, so I was going to put them into your group.
Perfect. So actually, so it might be best actually to pop in any questions. That's what we usually do. I'm getting mixed up. So we usually pop questions into the chat box that I can answer after the break. So feel free to do that now or during the break, or when you get back. Just pop in those questions and I can respond to them then. So that's what we do. So we will have a break and pop in any questions that you want. Great. Okay, enjoy. Okay, it's 6 minutes past, so I'll start anyways. If Liz can watch the recording, that's necessary. So Liz has asked a question. I just wanted to ask about the creative versus reactive mind. I have been noticing when I'm being reactive and then taking a pause and consciously trying to react creatively. Would this be considered being reactive, or is it a good thing to help train the mind to develop creativity? I'm not sure if that makes any sense. No, that does make sense. So this is most people's experience when you start practicing this kind of stuff. We're going to go into much more depth into how to do this in kind of more detail in the next couple of weeks. Once we kind of finish with this wheel of life, we'll be looking into more depth around things like the gap. Where is the gap of agency where we can make a choice? Getting into that a bit more. We'll be looking a lot more at what's it called? Mind training practice as well. So that's a little sneak peek of what's coming up. It won't be this evening, but that kind of thing will be covered. But just in response, most people will find that as you start all this practice of moving from reactive to creative mind, you're not going to be able to be spontaneously creative whenever the stimuli of that's going to create that reaction is there. So usually what will happen is that you'll react to something. Someone's been at you at work and they're being very they're putting pressure on you. You already have so much to do. They're not doing that much, and they're telling you have to do this as soon as possible. So you go, oh, how dare they? And then it's usually only then after you have that reaction, the reactive mind has worked. Only then you're going to notice, that's the reactive mind. If you think back to the story I told last week with the samurai had the sword ready to strike before the monk was able to say, this is hell. So we're probably going to react first and then notice that we are reacting. And at that point, we make a choice. So you have to have the awareness there first. Once the awareness is there, then the element of creativity comes in. So it's totally normal to react. We're going to react at this time as we start practicing. We're going to react. We notice we're in a reaction, and it could take some time before we even notice we're in the reaction. That could take a bit of time. It could take days sometimes. Unfortunately, hopefully not, but it can do depending on what it is. But we notice we're in a reaction, or that the mind is reacting, and in that awareness, we make the decision. I can do something different here. I can be creative here. So that's usually how it goes. And over time, that gap between this isn't the gap that we'll be talking about, but there is the space between the reaction and noticing that we have reacted should get smaller. And and the idea that totally an enlightened mind, there is no reaction. There's so little difference there is no difference between, there is no reaction. It's just all creativity. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that answers your question, Liz. Yeah. So no, don't feel bad. It's totally normal. Great. So Cleona, do we tend to have a dominant realm that we live in, or do we change all the time? I don't think there's a kind of a general standard on that. I think everybody at some point will sort of occupy one of the six realms in any given life. We will at some point occupy one of them, but usually there will be a few that we occupy quite frequently, and very possibly there's one that we spend a lot of time in. But that's not necessarily always the case. It could be like equal amount of time between two or three or all of them. So there's no usual case with this in my experience. But some people, you will notice. Some of you might notice that, I do spend a lot of time in this realm. That's probably the predominant one. But some of you may not recognize that at all. So yeah. Hope that's helpful in some way. Let's see. How can we not react unkindly? Double negative. So how can we not react unkindly? So how can we react kindly to our reactive tendency? How can we not react? Yeah. How can we react kindly to our? To react unkindly is probably reactive. So it's not very helpful. It's not very creative. So maybe that's where you need to work at first. Is like, I'm being reactive in relation to my reaction. So that's just going to cause a whole, sequence of reactivity. So that's not going to be helpful. So in a way, you bring the same principles of noticing. You're giving yourself a hard time about reacting. noticing you're reacting to noticing your reaction. Well, the awareness that I talk about is mindfulness, which has the quality of kindness, has the quality of curiosity, and the quality of receptivity. So if you're being unkind about your reaction, it's another reaction. Yeah, I think. Unless your reaction is unbounded kindness, and then maybe it's more creative to be. I don't think it's ever creative to be unkind, but yeah. Is that all right, Colin? Cool. What's the time? It's 1:15 already. Oh my god. Let's start getting into the content. Okay. Let's see. What do I need to do? I need to get my notes. Great. And I want to share the image again. So we have a treat this week. I'm going to use a different image. Now, if you guys bring your mind back to week one of our team facilitators who hasn't been able to come last week or this week, Carol, maybe some of you were in her group. She's very talented, and we're going to use one of her illustrations today of the Wheel of Life. So this was done by Carol Farina, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. So I thought I'd use it this week. So we have all the standard set up. I'm going to zoom in, don't worry, in a bit to the relevant areas. But you have your yama, we have our 12 links, we have the 6 realms, we have the people ascending and descending, and the hen and the snake and the pig. So let's zoom in a bit here. And so you might get a better picture. Okay. Oh. So this week we're going to explore. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh goodness. So this week we're going to explore these realms up here. And I would like to get my notes again, which disappeared because I went into full screen. Okay. Oh, sorry now, guys. It's dreadful. How do I my notes up? Okay. Can you guys still see that Wheel of Life?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Great. I can't, but that's okay. I see my notes and I see you guys, and that's the important thing. So we're going to start off with the God realm. So this is the realm on the top. So the God realm, or often called the Deva realm, is a realm of subtle and refined pleasures and immense beauty. Okay, so it's a very enjoyable, pleasurable place to be. There's no there's if you imagine all the sort of experiences you've had where you feel totally connected with everyone around you. You've just heard a beautiful piece of music. You're totally enraptured. You feel all the pleasure in your body of the music. Imagine that all the time. This is the Deva realm, right? It corresponds somewhat with the world of fine art, music, and higher, although still mundane, meditative states. These states called jhanas. That you can access to these very absorbed, concentrated states that are immensely pleasurable, but that are still very mundane. They're not transcendental, but they're very positive states to be in. Very, very positive. So it relates to the higher aesthetic experiences that we have, but these higher aesthetic experiences are detriment to higher transcendental truth. So because you are in the Deva realm, you experience so much pleasure, they become very complacent. You're not in touch with any suffering, so you don't see the point of sort of practicing the Dharma? What's the point of self-development? What's the point of continuing to practice meditation or so on? You become very self-satisfied in a way. You forget your own mortality. You forget that you're going to die because you're so absorbed in all this pleasure. And also traditionally it says, you if you're reborn into a Deva realm, a God realm, you're going to be there for a long time. You're there for a long, long period, like aeons, basically. So traditionally, it's a very desirable place to get to, but when you're there, it's very easy to forget that will end. You might realize something, that the word Deva, which is in my name. So my name is Prasannadeva, which was given to me by my preceptor, who is also a Deva, a Yasho Deva. So the reason why I have this in my name is that there are two types of Devas, apparently. When the guy who ordained me, he was ordained by Sangharakshita, whose lecture is the inspiration for this course. And what Sangharakshita said to him when he was ordaining him was that when he calls him Deva, when he calls him Yasho Deva, he's not a Deva of the wheel. So he's not the Devas of this realm. He is a Deva of the path. So the path of Buddhism, the path of spiritual practice, which is a different type of Deva in a way. And that was given to me when I was ordained as well. So there's sort of an aspiration there because I like my pleasures. I like my fine coffees and music and all those things. So it was a reminder to me not to be a Deva of the wheel, to be in this Deva realm, this God realm. So I do have to remember that in my life more and more as I practice. So I thought we'd do an activity this week instead of just telling you which Buddha visits the Deva realm or what the Buddha brings to the Deva realm. What do you think might be helpful to a Deva from a Buddhist perspective? What do they need? What would you bring to the Deva realm? If you were a Buddha, what would you bring to the Deva realm? And pop that into chat and let's see what we come up with. Oh yeah, yeah. Tell them about suffering, exactly. Inspiration, yeah. If you're complacent, you don't really have much inspiration. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, I'll just enjoy this. Self-awareness, yeah. Reminder of suffering and death, impermanence, exactly. Sobriety, yeah. Humility, yes. More empathy, yeah. You can become very self-centered as a Deva. It all ends, yeah. So I think people are getting it. So they're all good answers. They're all correct. But the more correct is the impermanence. So what the Buddha who appears is, what color is he? He's white. He's pure white. And what he has is a lute. And on the lute, he plays a melody of impermanence. So yes, so what a Deva needs is a reminder that things are going to end. That's what a Deva needs. And it communicates, the thing about the lute or the melody is it communicates the message of impermanence in the form of a melody, not through words. So no words are required. It's a wordless song. And the melody itself communicates something that can be overlooked by the brain, that can be overlooked by language. We can be told all things are going to end. But somehow we can kind of register that through words and language with our brain, but our heart hasn't quite heard it. But with the melody of impermanence, it goes straight to the heart. straight to where it matters in terms of remembering that all things are subject to change. That even no longer no matter how much your pleasure is extended, it will come to an end. So that's what that Buddha brings. So that's at the very, very top of the wheel. The next section to if you go to like 2 o'clock, if you get me, is the Ashura realm, or the Titans. So this is a realm of hatred, competitiveness, combat, worldly accomplishments and success, power and conquering of enemies. So this corresponds to somewhat to like the world of like Wall Street, of cutthroat politics. I don't know if any of you guys watch HBO's Succession. If you want to know something, if you want to see what an Ashura realm looks like, you could take a look at HBO Succession, and you'll get a sense of that. On a more everyday level, I think for me it kind of relates to one-upmanship, like wanting to kind of have one over on someone a little bit, or to be in a somewhat better position. For some people, it's more aggression for purposes of your own desire or benefit, as opposed to sort of healthy aggression, which could be, I'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, so aggression for your own benefit without kind of considering the consequences for others. Accumulation of wealth just for the sake of it, not to do good. Just there's nothing wrong with having some money that you want to live a good life with, or you want to money well earned. There's nothing wrong with that. But accumulating vast amount of wealth just for the sake of it, for the sake of power, perhaps, is characteristic of the Asuras, the Titans. Conceit and ego identity become so strong that very little can be appreciated by way of interconnectedness and love. Higher states of consciousness are not available to them. So they're very different to the Devas, and mythically speaking, apparently the Titans are very jealous and hate the Devas for their ability for enjoyment. The Asuras covet things in an attempt to enjoy them, but in the coveting of them, they cannot appreciate it. It's like trying to grasp on aggressively to a beautiful flower. You just kill it by trying to have it. You can't enjoy it anymore. And out of that, they just seek more and more power or destruction in response to this frustration. So I experienced this realm in my life mostly as conceit. I need to firm up my own self-worth by comparing myself to others, asserting my own perceived superiority or inferiority in some way. And I often experience this when I'm in sort of study groups. When I was training for ordination, I'd be in a lot of study groups, and I kind of notice a kind of competitiveness there. And it was really helpful for me to work on those sort of things in those groups. So yeah, that's kind of how I experience it on a more day-to-day, because sometimes the Ashuras can seem quite absurd and just caricatures of people. So what would you, as a Buddha or a Bodhisattva, finding yourself in the Ashura realm, what would you bring? So I know you could probably see it in the image, but what do you think it represents? The image might put you off, because unless you know a little bit about Buddhist symbology. So don't pay too much attention to the image. Just think about what would help the Ashuras, the Titans. Tough love, sure. Compassion for others, yeah. Compassion. Compassion, yeah. Okay. So empathy, yeah, definitely. So these are all things that would definitely help the asheras. But the Buddha is even wiser than this because he knows they're not going to pay any attention to compassion or anything like that. It's too impenetrable. So he brings a flaming sword. And in Buddhism, the flaming sword represents wisdom. And it's said that wisdom in Buddhism has a very close connection to hate or aggression. So what is meant by this is that the asheras who are dominated by hate, and hate has an affinity with wisdom, or rather wisdom has an affinity with hate. Hate has the characteristic of wanting to destroy. So this is what hate is. Hate wants to destroy. Transcendental wisdom also wants to destroy. It wants to kill, to annihilate. But it wants to kill and annihilate all illusion. It wants to smash through into reality or into Buddhahood. So the sort of wisdom can sometimes be considered the redirecting of hatred in a direction that hates anything that holds us back from gaining insight, from developing. So this is a very tantric idea, and this transforming of this really strong energy of something like hate into the service of the Dharma, into the service of good. Yes, but in a way that will then bring about compassion. So I don't think anyone is wrong in saying compassion would be helpful. It'd be very, very helpful. And wisdom and compassion are often seen as the two wings of the one bird. So they're very closely interrelated, wisdom and compassion in Buddhism. You cannot have one without the other. So I think you were very on the right mark there. Okay, there's a good few messages coming through, but I might just keep going, I'm afraid, because I'm conscious of time, and there's a good bit to be said on the human realm, but I'll come back towards the end when we have our plenary and see if there's any questions there. So the final realm, the human realm, which hopefully we occupy quite a bit. So this realm is defined by balance, awareness, potentiality for progress, self-reflectiveness, and solidarity with other humankind. It is the equilibrium between kind of all the other worlds. So we have access to refined mental states that would be typical of devas, but subject to instinctual desires and needs that would be characteristic of the animal world. We have the potential for both pleasure and pain in equal measures. We have the ability to be aggressive in both a healthy and an unhealthy way, but also gentle. So to use the words of Nietzsche, we are simultaneously a fallen angel and risen ape, as I really like that phrase. We're simultaneously fallen angel and risen ape. So we are on some levels just animals. We've just evolved out of animals, and that's, we're still conditioned by that, but we are also fallen angels. We also have an element of the transcendental in us, along with all those animalistic needs. So we are the equilibrium between those things. That's what the human realm is about. Traditionally, this equilibrium is described in terms of karma. So in the human realm, we sow the seeds of karma and we reap the outcomes of those seeds, which is generally both happiness or suffering. Whereas in many other realms, you can only reap outcomes karma, of the seeds that have been planted. So, for example, in the hell realm, traditionally it's said that you're only experiencing the fruits of your actions, the fruits of your karma. You cannot create new karma. I wouldn't take that too literally, but it does illustrate the sort of preciousness of the human state, that what we sow, we will reap in equal measures. So some other realms you'd be sowing and not get anything back. But as a human being, you watch the actions that you do, the karmic processes will mean that you will reap the seeds of those actions, both good and bad actions, as in both skillful or unskillful, creative or reactive actions. Communication is the principal feature of the human realm, both superficial communication, which is just sort of information, random bits of information, we have loads of it, as well as communication based on mutual recognition of individuality. So we can recognize and convey inner qualities such as love, courage, beauty, and inspiration. And out of this communication of both the information and those inner qualities, and we can communicate these things so effectively, out of that has come human cooperation that has resulted in civilization as we know it. So out of this communication means that we can have cities, we can have towns, we can have infrastructures, we've created art that reaches the highest strata of what it means to be a human being. So we've created Sistine chapels and pyramids and all these things because of this quality of being able to communicate. So that's a very defining feature of the human realm. It's very desirable to be in this realm. This is where we're most likely to gain enlightenment, because of this equilibrium, because of this the fact that the balance of the karma, the seeds that we sow, and the fruit that we reap. Sangharakshita talks about human development very broadly as lower and higher evolution. So there's a whole series of lectures on this, but I'm going to just give a very sort of brief sense of the gist of what this is. So he describes the shifting from the lower evolution to the higher evolution as the main purpose of human life. So let's talk a little bit about what the lower evolution is. So this is like the coming together of atoms, molecules, all these things to create organic life. The progression of being a single-celled organism to Homo sapien. And then the development of intellect, communication, and civilization. So this is all the lower evolution. It's involuntary. We didn't make a choice to evolve in this way. It's automatic. It also happens collectively as a group. It's not just one cohort that evolved and others didn't. It was a collective endeavor. Take that poetically rather than scientifically, because not everyone did. That's the whole point of evolution. Anyway, let's not go in there. But the higher evolution, this started, Sangharakshita says it kind of started around the axial age, which is around the time of the Buddha, a bit before it as well. It includes the Greeks like Socrates and Plato, amongst many others. So there's a whole kind of period where all these amazing minds just sort of arose, and there was a whole kind of spiritual revolution in the human psyches, really. So this is called the axial age. This brought about a higher order of evolution, spiritual progress that leads beyond all greed, hatred, delusion, that alleviates suffering and transcends duality. It transcends death. The higher evolution happens on the level of the individual. It is not collective. And it requires sustained willed effort on the part of the individual. It is not automatic. So this is kind of another way of communicating what it means to be a human being, to move from the lower to the higher evolution, which is also a re-expressing of becoming more and more creative. So practicing that creative mind. So the last activity before we have a short reflection, and then we'll have a short breakout group. So what kind of Buddha appears in the human realm? So pop that into the chat. What do humans need to get onto the higher evolution, to be creative? Any ideas? Insight, yep. Wisdom, guidance. Enlightenment, yep. Self-awareness, nourishment, spirituality. Light, enlightenment, yep. Mastery over our mind and impulses, exactly. Direction, yeah, definitely. Need direction. Without direction, you could be in the animal realm without a sense of something to move towards. So I think everyone is getting a sense of what is needed. I think the umbrella term, and some people use this, the umbrella term for it all is the spiritual life. Living the spiritual life, transcending the current state of affairs, transcending this wheel that we are ever stuck in, going round and round and round. The point of the human realm is that it's a precious opportunity for us to get off the wheel, to get out of this wheel of life, this endless rounds of suffering, pleasure, being a human for a bit, being an animal for a bit, this just never-ending cycle. Is the spiritual life to get off this wheel. Let's get out of here, and experience something much more, something inconceivably open, inconceivably pleasurable, beyond all the dualities that we have to deal with in this life. Okay, so let's do a very quick reflection. Now, this was supposed to happen nearly 20 minutes ago. So let's just do it anyways for a short 5 minutes reflection even. So if you want to get into a comfortable posture, and we'll do a short go of it. So with reflections, you can close your eyes, you don't have to. I usually do. I won't now because I'll need to see my notes, but I do like to, actually, another thing I'll do is stop sharing. Okay. So again, just kind of settling into your body and relaxing a bit. Can you get in touch with this sort of place you were when we did the meditation earlier? That place of awareness. Noticing any stillness in your experience. Just drop in the question, which of the 6 realms do you identify with the most? Which of the 6 realms am I in right now? Well, not right now, but which one do I recognize the most in my life? We'll have all of them to varying degrees, but which one resonates the most? Is it the hell realm? Lots of suffering? Pain? Difficulty? Bring to mind the Buddha with his Amrita nectar, the soothing elixir. So what is that for you if you identify with this realm? What is that elixir for you? Maybe you identify with the hungry ghosts, constant neurotic craving without any satisfaction. Where there appears the red Buddha with food and drink that will actually satisfy. But what is that food and drink for you? What will give you real satisfaction? We heard about the animal realm, existing in a way that we're purely driven by our instinctual desires. No sense of anything higher, nothing more to move towards. The Buddha here brings a book, educating, refining. What could this book represent for you? Maybe we identify with the gods, the devas. Our life is suffused with pleasure, bliss, refinement, and beauty. Maybe you forget that all things are impermanent. All things will change. But the Buddha, with his lute, plays the melody of impermanence. Beautiful, bittersweet music. Speaks straight to the heart. What is that music for you? Maybe we resonate with the Titans. Maybe we're always consumed by hatred, aggression, longing for power or wealth, just for the sake of it. But in this realm, we have the green Buddha with the flaming sword, signifying wisdom. Wisdom that is hate redirected. Hate that is directed towards all that holds us back from attaining enlightenment. So what is that for you? How might you redirect that hatred. Maybe we identify most with the human realm, truly human life of balance, equilibrium, precious opportunity to practice the spiritual life, to develop. In this realm, the Buddha appears as a wandering monk, saffron robed with a staff, representing the spiritual life. So to what degree do you want to have spiritual element to your life? Maybe you want more. Just wondering how that might manifest for you. Just for the last few moments, letting whatever is coming up just to come up. Don't make any effort. Just sit. When you're ready, bringing back some movement and opening your eyes. Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, so home practice is the same as last week, really, but you have 3 more realms to explore or reflect upon. The reading is actually the same, so if you've done it already, you don't need to do the reading again. Meditating every day and noticing the reactive or creative mind, and bring this reflection that we just had into your life this week. I asked you those questions, what are those gifts that the Buddha is bringing to those realms? What are they for you? So you may not have had an answer in that reflection, and that's kind of good, because you'll be able to bring that question into your life, and hopefully, and do journal if you can, if you're into that kind of thing, and bring it to the group next week. So we don't have much time, but it'd be still good maybe if we even had just 5 minutes in the breakout group. So it might just be a very, very quick kind of saying what you intend to do during the week with home practice, or maybe just how you found that reflection, or just kind of like a minute each or 2 minutes each, depending on the size of your breakout group. And we'll have, maybe you could run it for 7 minutes, Oscar, if that's all right. So sorry about all the mix up with the time, but yeah, hopefully it'd be good anyway to have a breakout group. We have come to the end. It's 9 o'clock. Usually we'd have the plenary, but what I invite you to do is, if you do have any questions and you have time, to hang on after the course, and I can hang out and answer any questions you might have. But we won't open the floor as we usually do, just for time wise, because I'm sure some of you have to go. So thank you so much, everyone. There will be a follow-up email and with the video and all the rest. So yeah, looking forward to see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Hope you have a good class next week with Vajrashura. and I'll see you then. See you the following week. So, bye bye.